Segment three, Golden Black Live. Thank you to Rayfel Davis and to Mike Steele and Jerry Nichols who joined us in the first two segments. Tom Dienhart joins us for segment three. And yes, it's quiet, I guess. The NCAA champion has been determined with Michigan. The transfer portal is closed, though Purdue is still picked up somebody, I think was this week as well. But Tom, it still is, and we're still working our way through conditioning. I will start again, and then, of course, spring ball. But kind of give me your assessment, Purdue in the transfer portal, a pretty highly, at least respected group in terms of what needs have been secured. But give us your synopsis of that group and kind of what to take from that from your perspective.
Yeah, first, Alan, crazy to think about this, but classes have started in West Lafayette.
Yeah.
Purdue's enrolled 14 players from the portal. They've also enrolled 13 high school and junior college players, 11 high school kids and 2 JCs. So that's 27 new players who are on campus who will take part in spring football. So the staff's got a lot to sort through. A lot of times, Alan, these freshmen we know probably aren't going to play much, if at all, this coming fall. But still, 14 transfer guys, 11 high school kids, 2 junior college players, all are walking around campus, Alan, carrying their book pack with the union, eating at the sweet shop, walking by the old fountain and taking classes. But again, just a lot of new faces here for the staff to sort through. We see this roster continue to change, to continue to evolve. People who rank portal classes seem to think Purdue's got a pretty good collection of players here, Alan. And they seemingly checked a lot of boxes. And no box was checked more thoroughly than that offensive line box. Right. We all knew they had to do some work there. And boy, did they do some work, Alan, bringing in some, it looks to be some quality offensive linemen from the portal. 4 guys, 4 portal offensive linemen are here on campus. So that's a unit. And plus, Alan, they got 2 junior college offensive linemen. So that's, again, 4 portal linemen, 2 junior college offensive linemen, and they got 4 high school kids. So that offensive line should be in a little better shape, at least from a depth standpoint. So it's going to be fun watching those guys sort of get acclimated to Purdue and see what the staff thinks of them once spring ball starts in March.
Yeah, when you talk about the amazing number, over 30% of your roster is new coming in. We talked about this before, but Ryan Walters and all coaches have got to learn to manage to some extent a little bit of chaos as you have a new roster, or at least assimilate guys, try to make a team out of all this and do it. The good thing, I guess, Tom, is that you got 27 of them that will be able to go through spring practice. That's a huge deal of being able to get these guys lined up and at least introduced to what Ryan Walters football looks like from their perspective.
Yeah, you're right. And I talked about the offensive line being maybe the position that it's been impacted most by portal transfers. Another key area, though, is the wide receiving core, Alan. And, it was last Friday, I think, during the Illinois game, the 2 receivers from Georgia committed to Purdue. And so that gives Purdue 3 portal wide receivers. Again, the 2 Georgia kids, Denylon Morissette and CJ Smith. And earlier, they got a commitment from a UCLA wide receiver, Cam Brown. So we all know Purdue lost, I think it's 6 receivers in the portal this last year, Alan. So they really had to replenish that position and give those guys a chance to get comfortable in this offense and also get comfortable working with Hudson Card.
Yeah. The portal will open up again. I don't even know the date off the top of my head, but after spring ball. Do you see much? I know Purdue picked up some guys last year. I don't know if they did in the second portal. They did some. Do you see much there? Will there be much? Where it's also it's relatively new, but do you see much activity there? Purdue does not appear in your count to have a lot of scholarships to play with at this point. What do you see, though, maybe in the spring as well?
I think for sure there's going to be movement out and movement back in, Alan. And yes, they did add some players last spring during that portal window. It's this year, it's April 15th to the 30th.
Okay.
So again, Purdue's probably going to start spring football when it gets back from spring break about March 17th, 18th, right around there. And it's about a 3 or 4 week process. So the end of spring football for Purdue will line up perfectly with when the portal opens back up. At that point, players will have had a chance to go through spring practice. Maybe some guys will see the handwriting on the wall, maybe not like how they think they're going to be used, and may want to jump in the portal at that point. And it wouldn't be a shock to see a few guys do that. And of course, Allen Purdue's always looking for players. Even if they don't have a need at a position, if they find a good player that they can get, they're going to take them. There don't seem to be any real glaring areas of need from a positional standpoint right now. They did add a cornerback here last week, the kid from Colorado. So they got 2 cornerbacks now as well. So again, no real serious areas of concern at this point for Purdue. But like I said, they're always shopping, Allen. They're always looking to try to add talent to that roster.
Yeah, we were talking in our high level staff meeting yesterday at lunch about spring game date, and now it comes to if they do start around the 18th of March, I got to think that spring game will be on April the 13th, which will be right after Purdue men's basketball's NCAA championship celebration. Maybe they'll put them both in the same day. I'm being somewhat facetious, but I suppose for Purdue fans, you only can hope that can happen. But all right, so you look at schedule next year. You watched this week Michigan win the national championship, and now we're going to be going to a 12-team playoff, and not necessarily we're expecting that to impact Purdue just yet. Certainly, that would be a dream of Purdue to get to work its way somehow into the playoff discussion down the road. Tough schedule. It's going to be tough every year if you're Purdue, but you've got Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon State, Notre Dame, just to name 5 on that schedule. But it's a new era now, and it's going to be you're going to be everybody fighting for those positions. You might see 2 or 3 teams in the Big Ten get into that playoff. Certainly, that many will be in the conversation throughout the course of the year. But just you've watched a lot of college football over the year. Just how do you think that changes the dynamic, even for teams like Purdue that are going to have to scratch and claw to even get in that conversation, and realistically not going to be in that conversation very often, but they that's something they can aspire to. Talk about that 12 team and how that changes the landscape of how teams do business.
Yeah, it'll be tough, Allen. I think the Big Ten and the SEC probably hope they make up over half that playoff field every year. Maybe with one of them getting 4, the other one getting 3, and flip-flopping every other year. But they certainly want no fewer than 2 and at least probably 3 in every year, and sometimes maybe 4, Allen. And the hill's gotten a lot steeper for schools like Purdue to try to reach that brass ring of reaching the playoffs. Now, yes, there are more playoff slots. Like you said, it's going to be a 12-team playoff starting this coming season. But the Big Ten has just gotten a whole lot more difficult, right? As an 18-team conference now, Washington, Oregon, UCLA, USC. But, Allen, we've been around a long time, and we've seen Purdue when they get everything aligned, they have a good quarterback, and things are clicking. They can't have those special seasons. And there's no reason to think why Purdue maybe couldn't rise up from time to time and make a push at one of those at-large playoff spots. Winning the Big Ten, Allen, that could be a real tall task, but you never know. But again, maybe at least getting one of those at-large spots, that may be where Purdue has to really aim for from time to time if it hopes to really get in that college football gala event. It's going to be really fun, Allen, especially those first rounds next year that are going to be played on campuses.
Yeah.
It's going to be a blast seeing a playoff atmosphere on some of these campuses on Fridays and Saturday nights here coming up this coming year.
Yeah. The 2000 and 2003 teams would have been right at it, I think, if you talk about Drew Brees and, of course, Kyle Orton's team, though they had 3 regular season losses, but as did the 2000 team, I should say. But still, there is living proof that it can happen and that you can be in the conversation if you're Purdue. But boy, I still shudder a little bit at the fact that Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA are in this league. Going to make things challenging, but I think Ryan Walters seems to embrace all this and say, you know what, we're here to compete, and It all will start on September the 7th when Indiana State comes calling. Notre
And they
Dame.
won't shy away. Al. We know this is an aggressive staff, and
Yes, I agree with that.
and this weekend, as a matter of fact, they're already starting to woo more intensely 2025 players. Alan, there's posted boiling over on Thursday. Got some names of some key 2025 kids that will be here this weekend. So the ball is already moving forward, obviously, toward these next round of recruits. And yeah, you mentioned that schedule too. They're trying to they're trying to move that schedule around a little bit. We've talked about that. A lot of people have asked me about it. Purdue's got to bye August 31st, which is week 1. They don't want to bye the first week of the year. They'd like to get Indiana State. That game moved from September 7th to August 31st. It looks like it's going to be a very tall task. And right now, if I were to make a guess, it's probably not going to happen. But I know they've worked hard. They're continuing to work hard. So we'll see if that happens. But right now, Alan, they've got to buy that first week of the year. And that's something the Boilermakers would like to change and have Indiana State play in West Lafayette on that week 1, August 31st.
All right, always time to talk football at goldenblack.com, and Tom Diener. Nobody does it better than Tom. We appreciate all his work, and his life's work in college football has been in college sports, not just with Gold and Black, but we appreciate that as well. All right, we want to thank our sponsors, and as we bring this show to an end, and that, of course, is Triple X and On the Hill, but on the level of Purdue tradition since 1929. Tom and I will get over there for Wayne Purvis before long and say hi to Carrie and Greg Ayersman. We appreciate them. And, of course, State Farm agent Trent Johnson at trentismyagent.com. He, I think, was at the scorer's table on Wednesday night watching Caitlin Clark running up and down the court.
I saw him.
To a very dismal triple-double. I don't know. She was just kind of pedestrian, wasn't she? But what an atmosphere, and you were there for that game as well for half of that ball game, and the fact that you had a sellout in Mack Arena, no small deal, but a big deal. So stay tuned. Programming note, show next week may not happen. We'll have one in 2 weeks. We're trying to work with some details out with our partners at WLFI, but we have lots of shows to come here in 2024. It is a new year, lots to talk about in the world of Purdue sports. So have a great rest of your day and your weekend. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week or soon on Gold and Black Live.